Andrew Carnegie was born in Scotland in 1835. His family moved to America when he was 13 and settled in Pittsburgh. He found jobs working in a fabric mill and telegraph office. Carnegie always did well at whatever he set his mind to. He was known to make improvements to any job he held. While working for the telegraph office, he began studying the railroad system, and he soon became the superintendent. He took the money he had saved and invested in an oil company. His investment return was good, and then he went to England to learn how to make steel. He wanted to make steel that was cheaper and more durable than American steel. He came back with his knowledge and built a huge steel factory. Carnegie's factory was very successful and he sold it for $480 million. Carnegie was a very wealthy man, but he was more interested in philanthropy than spending his money on himself. He spent the rest of his life giving his money away to worthy causes. Reading and learning were very important to him, so he built many libraries. He also established universities and research institutes. Carnegie built hospitals, museums, and theaters. One of the most recognizable buildings he built was Carnegie Hall in New York City. Carnegie Hall hosts many concerts and symphonies each year and is an important part of New York City culture. Andrew Carnegie passed away at the age of 83. In his lifetime he gave away 90% of his fortune. He is known as a man who was selfless and wanted to do good for others. Well, I think the drugs we use are not taken seriously into account. Parents leave their drugs all over the place at home, but their children may accidentally take these drugs before they know it. And soon many children are victim to accidents now. This must be avoided at all cost. One way preventing accidents is to put drugs in closed boxes. Also, parents can firmly close the lid really well. I am sure kids would not be able to reach it. Another problem we find in mismanagement of drugs, how these medicines can be allergic to many people. We have to remember different drugs have different resistance and duration that is extremely dangerous if someone takes a wrong drug. So what are the ways we can stop this from happening? Well, I suggest introduce the course, which will primarily improve the misuse of drugs and greatly improve our lives.
As long as industrialized nations consume energy and developing countries increase their fossil fuel consumption, the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere will continue to rise. Researchers predict that temperature will increase about 2 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of the century. What's less certain is what rising temperatures mean for the planet. Some climate models predict subtle changes. Others forecast rising sea levels, which could flood coastal areas around the world. Weather patterns could change, making hurricanes more frequent. Severe droughts could become more common in warm areas, and species unable to adapt to the changing conditions would face extinction. Although much remains to be learned about global warming, many organizations advocate cutting greenhouse gas emissions to reduce the impact of global warming. Consumers can help. By saving energy around the house, switching to compact fluorescent light bulbs, and driving fewer miles in the car each week, these simple changes may help keep the Earth cooler in the future. An essay is a chance to identify your read and learned. As a writer, you first need to collect many materials, then write an essay in 4 or 5 paragraphs, structures, and quotes. If someone is searching for a book or article to read, he or she will decide from the very beginning whether this work is worth attention. If you want to wow your teacher, polish the introduction, especially the first couple of sentences. Add an essay hook, something interesting, funny, shocking, or intriguing to win the reader's attention. Build an emotional connection with your reader right from the start. A hook in the essay is a catchy sentence or paragraph in the impressive introduction, which serves as an attention element and an important part. An excellent hook sentence is engaging and interesting. It is a perfect method to start an argumentative or persuasive essay. The hook for your essay often appears in the first sentence. The opening paragraph includes a thesis sentence. Some popular hook choices can include using an interesting quote, a little-known fact, famous last words, or a statistic.
Absolutism is referred to as the claim that there is a universally valid moral system. Such a system applies to everyone, whether they realize it or not. Also, it contains rules, guidelines, and principles, which are all universal. It acts as a roadmap guiding individual and social behaviors. Some principles of absolutism cannot be violated or betrayed, and they have wide acceptance with no assumptions or exceptions. There is a boundary line that tells what is right and what is wrong. The idea of absolutism is that nothing is dependent on situations.